What's going on, good people? It's Byron Scott back with my guy Cordero, man, talking about wholesale real estate. The easiest way, the easiest way, I would say the most democratic way for people to get started wholesaling. I got that from Brandon Turner. It's like the most inclusive way, I would say, for people to get started in real estate. What do you think about that?
I like that actually. But I think I would have thought that before, but I think you bring up a really good point when you talk about what kind of made you do texting. And I think it just ultimately depends on what you're doing. Like if you're a
Yeah.
teacher, I don't know if cold calling is the way. Maybe texting is a better way. And I
Yeah, but
always
no. I'm just saying wholesaling being the most
are you talking about
democratic way to
wholesaling?
get involved in real estate. It's like
That is
doesn't
the
that, like other forms of real estate, it's more about connections and money.
yeah, for sure, for
You
sure,
know
for
what I'm
sure.
saying? Like
I
you
think
gotta have money or you gotta have a connection to be involved in that deal. You know what I'm saying? But
connection, money, or just like some extreme know-how. Like you gotta
yeah,
have, you gotta either study it or have somebody teach it to you. This, you
yeah.
know it, but it's about hustle. And it's about literally if you're willing to put in the work, it's not that complicated. It's very simple. Anybody can do this.
Anybody can do this, and you can go to Papa John's, start working and get this off the ground.
That's
You know what I'm
another
saying?
good
It's
point.
like, I
Another
don't know if I don't know if it's any other real estate that you and can go from like 0 to 100, like boom.
yeah, like you can
You
go
know
like,
what I'm saying?
you know.
It's
That's another good point. For what you put into it, for what needs to be put into it, what you can get out of this, that's crazy.
I always like to call wholesaling explosive.
Very
I mean, if
explosive.
wholesaling was a running back, woo, that joke would be explosive. It's
Who would it
like,
be? You talking about Marshawn Lynch, Adrian Peterson? Who we talking about?
ooh, that thing would be explosive. I'm thinking, uh, I don't know,
Barry
man.
Sanders.
Man, it would be running people over. It would be more like Walter Payton. Boom, running people over, trucking people.
Don't sleep on
You
Adrian, but
know,
shout out Jamie. Shout out Jamie Buck, man.
shout out to Jamie Buck, man. We got Zay in the building. What's going on, Zay? Appreciate y'all for all the game. Got a high lead up
Shout
more
out to
consistent.
Zay.
There you go. More creative. Boy, no more, man. No more,
Creative
man.
importance,
No
man.
more.
Stop telling yourself, well, I mean, it just make more. You can get real logical, analytical,
I'm
even
telling
when
you,
it
dude.
comes to talking yourself out of doing what you know you need to. You know what I mean? You be like, man,
Man,
this.
hey, real good at that, man.
You be like, man, you become a genius, boy. As soon as you realize, man, I need to get in the dialer, or if you really think about it, you know what I mean. But shout out to Zay, man, and I think that is one of the most important qualities about anybody is about not just what you hear, because a lot of people can watch our live, a lot of people can watch anything or consume anything, but when you implement it, when you actually make up your mind that they said this, it makes sense to me, and I'm gonna immediately start to do it. Immediately start to be more consistent in my work. Immediately stop being, creative in my avoidance, and immediately start input to wait to see output. And
Yeah.
then it take people time to implement. Like right now, if Elon Musk told me everything that he does on a daily basis, I can guarantee you, I don't know, man. I don't know if I'll just be like, well, I can just do that right now. You just told me. It might take a while, even though he just told me. You know what I mean? So shout out to you, man. That's intelligence. And you get yourself a pat on the back, man. 10x that though. Got a hot lead. Let's get 10 hot leads. And I'm
Yeah.
not even trying to knock what you're doing. I'm just saying, like, I want you to always be in.
That mindset of, hey man, let me work on 10x and what I'm doing. What if I had 10 hot leads? Because it's like you may have a hot lead that may not work out,
Right.
but that hot lead not working out is not your problem. Your problem is you
Yeah.
ain't got enough leads,
You only
man.
had one lead.
You only had one lead. With that Great Cardone, he was talking about how he went to the store with he had like a nickel or something.
I think it was 50 Cent. Here, what
Yeah,
he had.
it was 50
He had
cent
two
or
quarters.
a quarter or something like that. And he was like, he lost it. He like, I think it was 1 quarter. Because it was one of something, or maybe it was 50 cents.
I thought it was 2 quarters and he lost one and he only had the 20 or whatever it was. But the moral of the story is
He only had a little bit amount of money. You know what I'm saying? And he lost it. So
and then his dad said one thing, but his grandfather said another thing.
His dad, I think, told him like, basically you out of luck,
It's like, man, don't ever lose your quarter. You lost your quarter. You should, you're gonna get it.
It was like, hey, son, the problem ain't that you lost your quarters. The problem is you only had 1 quarter.
That's the problem.
You ought to have freaking plenty of money when you go, man.
Real
like,
talk.
Plenty of leads, dude. Have plenty of leads. Me and Cordero was talking. He was like, "Oh yeah, this person. Oh yeah, this person. I gotta go. Oh yeah, that person. I gotta go. Oh yeah, that person. Oh yeah, that person." So he talking about all these different people he got to call. It's like,
yeah,
it's like all these different people you got to call.
And he said, "You got somebody to call?" Like literally all the time. There's always somebody to call. And really, if you listen to what we're saying, we're recapping what we've been talking about like all week, or at least all these past couple weeks, and putting it all together. And sometimes it's not about going from 1 to 10 overnight, that incremental change. So it's like you got 1 hot lead today. Whatever you did to get 1 lead, whether it was maybe you was in the dialer for 2 hours, or it took you 2 days in the dialer to get that 1 hot lead, then just incremental, growth. Now let's add another 2 days onto that, and another 2 days, and another 2 days. Whatever it is, we want you to think about 10x, but take it 1 step at a time. That is the power of 1 more, and just adding 1 more. And so, because you don't want to, I ain't gonna say psych yourself out if you can make that major leap, but just know it's all about laying a brick every day. But
hey, that's that Will Smith, ain't it?
Yeah. But here's one thing I realized too, man. Real talk. People always talk about that. Lay a brick every day, you'll have a brick wall. But it's really like you lay it.
That came from Will Smith. I think that came.
Yeah. Now he talked about how his pops made him do a brick wall, like create a brick wall as a kid.
Yeah. That's what I thought that came from, right?
I think that's a general saying, but his dad took it literal and really taught them that lesson, which I think is very profound. You know what I mean? But one thing I noticed, people always that's a saying like people talk about because it's so true. Anything is built 1 brick at a time. Or even I think Gandhi said the journey of 1,000 miles start with 1 step. Just 1 step at a time.
1 step, man.
But what I think is what people don't talk about is, let's take the brick analogy. It's like really you need to be laying 2 bricks, because real talk, business is like while you lay a brick in the daytime, while you sleep, somebody taking a brick away. You know what I mean? And the only way you can really get ahead of that is if you stay somebody taking your brick.
That's the power of 1 more though, right?
Right. But ultimately, it's like the momentum is more important than just a brick here or there, is what I'm saying.
Well, I think Ed Mylett kind of talked about this. It's like, if we all doing the same thing, we all doing the same thing. But the person who's doing 1 more is doing more than everybody else. You know what I'm saying? You getting that little edge, you putting yourself a little bit ahead of somebody else, and you keep doing 1 more over time. Like Kobe talked about this. He was talking about like, dude, if you wake up at 8,
you
know what I'm saying? That's one thing. You might get a little bit of workout in. Okay, go eat lunch, come back, get another workout in. Go eat dinner, go sleep, wake up again. But I'm waking up at 4 o'clock. You know what I'm saying? I'm getting an extra workout in. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
That extra workout, that's 5 extra workouts a week over years. Over
a lifetime.
Like by the time he got to a certain age, you know how far behind the other people was.
Yes,
they never gonna catch up.
Even if I started today, I mean, doing an extra workout, adding it on, like, dog, you got, and that's what Alex Hermosi said about Grant Cardone when he was talking about how he was like, "What's your overarching content strategy as far as posting online?" And he was just like, if somebody trying to sell you a strategy, they just trying to sell you something. It's about 10x. It's about 10x.
That's what he said. Yeah.
You know what I mean? He was just like, he said something to the effect of, it's like, not only is he doing like he pulled up, it's like I'm posting something like 3 times every day. Grant Cardone was like, man, I'm posting 10 times a day on everything. And I've been doing it for 10 years longer than you. You see what I'm saying? It's just like, as smart as Alex Hormozi is, he ain't got as much money as Grant. He ain't got as much money as Grant. It's,
that shows you one thing. It's like, and even with me, I thought about it. It's like, shoot, you ain't got to be smart. You just got to go. It's like, I don't know how many people watches this video or whatever videos I make or whatever videos anybody who's trying to show them how to do this make. But the successful people is not the smartest people who watch the video. You know what I'm saying? It ain't the smartest joke. It ain't the smoothest talking jokers who watch the video. It ain't the jokers who, was able to say the smoothest things to the seller or able to, It's all about the people who actually took the action and stayed consistent. Those are the people that got the success. All the other stuff don't matter. You could be dumb. Like you could be like your intelligence level is not gonna matter. Your skill level is not gonna end up mattering. You know what I'm saying? It's like there's some stuff I didn't know how to do, don't know how to do. But it's like I know if I stay at it long enough, boom, boom, every day, stay at it. Over time, my skill level is gonna start piling up. Like my skill level go start piling up to the point where it's like, man, I can cold call as good as Cordero.
Yeah, I mean, and you got a point, cause too, like I was talking about the other day, it's just like I'm saying, like it's not really that hard. It was just a lot of stuff that I learned. Like if you do it the right way every time, but it's like y'all know how many years. If you getting in that dollar right now, and you just like, man, I'm nervous to get in the dollar. Or people keep cussing me out. How do you deal with sellers? I did it for years. I'm talking about that's how I talk to people. I got in the phone, and even before I was working in real estate, I was talking to people at my 9 to 5 for years, just trying to improve how I talk to people. And that wasn't something I was conscious. Well, I knew I wanted to own a business, but I didn't know like, it was going to get to a point where my skill set or my specialty was talking to people over the phone or communicating in general. I didn't realize that. But you can't eat, whether you do it on purpose or do it on accident. If you spend time doing something and stay consistent with it for years, you will just accumulate a solid foundation and a solid skill set. And that's the thing. Can't nobody take that away from you either. So it's not about how much money you make. It's not about what you do, the business you build or whatever. Nobody can take away the skill set that you learn. But all of that, like Byron said, just come from taking that action and staying consistent. And that's really what I was speaking to. The moment, not just taking action, but the momentum that comes from consistency. That's a different sort of thing. That hits you harder in the mouth. You know what I mean? It's just like somebody just punch you or somebody running at you and just like Falcon punch you or something like that. They putting a lot more forward momentum off into that. And that's what it really is, man. And so, yeah, man. Filomeno, that name sounds familiar. And I hope I'm saying it right. But Atomic Habits, that is definitely a good book.
Atomic Habits, man. That's a good book. But let's jump into this, man. Let's go ahead and get into it, man. Today we're going to show you how to set up or how to work a cold calling system. And me personally, I think the best dollar that's out right now is the Batch Dollar. So, and Cordero uses the Batch Dollar. So we're going to go ahead and roll with it and show y'all how to use this Batch Dollar, to make your cold calls, man. So we'll go ahead and throw this thing up here.
Yes, sir.
Let Cordero get to it, man.
Yeah, man. And I don't know, man. I guess more than just, I'll just show you some key things about the system and how it works. If you want to learn how to set it up, you just gotta go on the Batch Dialer and request an account. All of that's very simple. If you got a Facebook, if you got an Instagram account, you can actually set your account up. But they have different platforms that you can put and stuff like that. But I'm going to show you the basics that I think are the most important. I want to say contacts. Here in the contacts, shout out to all these folks. But here in the contacts, this is where you go to add, if you just pulled a list or something like that, this is where you go to add it. You go to contact list, actually. And you notice down here on the side, this is your dashboard. And everybody knows dashboard, like the dashboard in your car, it gives you the main vitals of what's going on at a moment's glance. That's the point of a dashboard. And it gives you those immediate vitals, such as, how many outbound calls are there? This shows you, are there any live calls? Obviously, I don't have anybody calling right now. How many total agents? And then these will give you your metrics. How many outbound calls, abandon rate. You could, before I show you how to upload leads, I do kind of want to give you a gist of the dashboard. But you can always filter out for the day and see what's going on, how many leads have been generated, how many outbound calls have been made. You want to pay attention to these things because essentially these are your metrics or your KPIs. These are things that you will notice. And I think some of the most important is we're looking at connection rate. And I think that, if you want to go gung ho, you want to be really hitting it, I think your connection rate needs to be around 50. What's your guy, Byron, was saying something about?
Man, yeah, he was saying like 75.
Yeah,
he was talking about stupid of 80.
Yeah, the higher this, the better. And obviously mine's 37. I think that's like, I think that's just for today. Obviously, it depends on a number of different factors. But in general, like mine is usually anywhere from 30 to 50 is where mine is. It's usually more better than this. But first of all, if you can get more phone numbers, more accurate phone numbers, or register your phone numbers, you can have a higher and better, more consistent connection rate. The percentage of all numbers dials that connected to a contact. So all these are out of 492 outbound calls. I'm just sitting in a dialer and the dialer is just dialing. I have the multi-line dialer, but I use 3 lines. Don't use more than 3. They sell you on this concept of the multi-line dialer, but if you use more than 3, it'll be burning through the numbers too fast, and it'll mark your numbers as spam too much. But out of a triple line dialer, I called 492 people, and 184 people calls actually got connected. I mean, they actually reached somebody.
And that's important. When he talk about like your numbers getting spam, because the key to cold calling is connecting, right? And there's a couple of things that's gonna make sure you get connected. Like you can sit there and cold, letting them numbers run all day, but if you ain't connecting, then it doesn't even matter. You know what I'm saying? It's like you have to do the stuff to make sure you get connected. The first thing is make sure you're getting good skip tracing. The other thing is, like you were just talking about, make sure your numbers don't get spammed by making sure your dialer is not turned too far up and make sure you got plenty of phone numbers. You know what I'm saying? So.
Absolutely. The more phone numbers, the merrier. And again, registering your numbers. I'm sure you mentioned that. And then obviously out of 104 calls, I got 1 lead, and that was a really good lead, actually. I think your numbers may be different as far as like the numbers that I pay attention to when it's me in there, is I'm going to pay attention to connection rate, because I know every time I call, I'm going to do my best. I'm going to do my best to convert as many of these connected calls into leads as possible. But when you got a VA, you want to be paying attention to connection rate. And also notice, like if you talk to 104 people, usually for me, every 150 or so people I connect to is about a lead. Anywhere from 150 to 200 people, I get a lead. That's just, and that's no matter what list. And that's from connected to just from the connected calls. And usually, honestly, it kind of averages out to 300. Every 300 people, it comes out to 2 leads. So I guess it's more like 150. Every 150, I get a lead or whatever. But when a VA is in there and you can monitor, that's why it has this section right here where you can see the live calls. Because usually if somebody was dialing right now, if I had a VA dialing, you could check that they're actually in the dialer. It'll show you that the phone is dialing, which I'll show you what that looks like here in a minute. And then it also if they answer a call, somebody connects and they pick up and they're talking, hey, Stacy, this is Cordero's VA. You can actually listen in on that call while they're having it live. That's one thing that I like about Batch Dialer. I'm sure other ones offer that, but it's just, I think Batch Dialer is a little bit more user friendly when it comes to that. And also, you can even barge in on that call. So you can listen in on it. And if you hear your VA saying something crazy like, oh, whoa, you can just type in, hey, sorry, I didn't mean to barge in, guys, but I just wanted I'm Cordero here. If you got to correct them, you can do that. Which I never have had to do that before, but still. That's there. But those are some KPIs that I think are the most important is your connection rate, because if it goes down way too low, then that tells you that you're probably, your phone numbers are getting marked as spam, or maybe the list. And the more you call through a list, it should get lower and lower. You know what I mean? If it's a brand new list, the connection rate will probably be a little bit higher because it's the first time you're calling. And the more you recycle that list over and over and over again, it'll get lower because you've touched it. You're calling these people again, et cetera, et cetera. But yeah. But here, back to this. It gives you the option. That's the dashboard. But here you can go into a little bit more vital reports under here. And you go to contact list. This is where you import an entire this is where you import an entire list. I don't have a list. That list you sent me earlier, Byron, I haven't filtered it out yet. So
okay.
But I don't have a list. But what this is basically,
what do you mean by filter it out?
What I was talking about with put the phone number, and I did check it. That is what's going on with it, by the way. And I'm sure you already saw that the phone numbers are spaced out by the second, third owner, etc. And I didn't put it through the macro, or at least tried to yet. I haven't tried to do that yet, because I know once you upload it in here, that take a list of 10,000 and probably bring it down to 5,000 or something like that. But what you do is you upload the list on here. You upload the list on here.
Yeah, man. Make sure you hit the like button and share, man. I know we don't really say that on here enough, for sure. Make sure you hit the like button. We got people out here, rooting for us, man. I appreciate y'all. Appreciate you, Grace and Mercy.
Thank you, Grace and Mercy. We all need you.
I'm telling you.
Yeah, talk.
For sure, man. But yeah, hit the like button, share, all that good stuff. Go hit the like and share button on all our stuff too. We posting every day, man. We here for y'all. So yeah, man, y'all let us know what y'all want to see, man. Leave comments. We'll go back to the comments, man, and figure out what y'all need to learn, what we need to do for the next day. We try to show y'all what y'all looking for. You know what I'm saying? So y'all leave a comment, whatever.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think this is a part right here. I got the list. I picked the list out of my, out of my downloads. And let's say you just skip trace the list, which we can show you how to skip trace next Friday or something like that. But you pull the list and the skip trace is ready to go. All you do is you pull it up, and here you got to match the fields, which means it's going to be as if it was in a Google, not a docs, but a sheet, like a spreadsheet, and it's going to have the columns. And so what this is saying is when you map the fields, it's you got to match the columns up. So if the title of that column is full first name, then you match it full name, because I could put it, first name goes with first name, last name goes with last name, mailing address, city, state, zip, address. And I think this is a little, and I remember back before I even heard about a dialer, I was like, man, how you do this part? It's tedious, but this is just sit there, and this is all you have to do is match them up. And very, very simple. It's got phone number 4, 5, and 6. You see how it's got the phone numbers kind of, and it just doesn't have a place for the phone numbers, I think. Yeah. So we'll have to get that straightened out. But
yeah, for sure.
Alternate full number. Let's see if there's another. No, there isn't. But phone number 1, I got that with the phone number one, phone number two, phone number two, phone number three, phone number three. That's important. And it has a number of other things. And really, you don't have to, everything doesn't have to import, just as an FYI, like these custom fields. That's just like something, stuff like this, for example, where it says Golden address, Golden City. I think that was from Lead Sherpa. And it was a new thing that they introduced. And I think the Golden address and the Golden City state and zip, those are things that are like, these are 100% solid. This is definitely where that person's lived. And they have some way of confirming that in their system.
Yeah.
This is fine. When I'm talking to a person, I really don't care about their mailing address. I do because it tells me at the quick glance, and I'll show you what it looks like when it pulls up a contact. Actually, at a quick glance, it'll show me if that person actually lives at this property that I'm asking them about, or they don't. And if they don't, I'm like, oh, it's not owner occupied. Maybe you're more likely to sell. Or if I ask them a question, it just kind of gives me that data. I can say, hey, I mean, is this an investment property? Is anybody living there, or is it empty at this moment, or anything like that? And I could see that if it tells me if the mail city and the property address are the same, then odds are that seller lives at the house that you're calling about. If it's not, then there's odds are they don't live there. But you could add any of this. You can add that person's age, which just by going in here, going into a custom, scroll down to where it says custom field and age. Type that in, and now it says age, and it'll actually pull up and it'll create a system place under the contacts where it shows that person's age. Are they in a bankruptcy? You can choose to add all of that, and then you go to next, and then you actually give the campaign a list. I'm gonna be honest with y'all. I like to distinguish my list. I give my list particular names based upon food, and then yeah, I do. I don't know. I just started doing that. Like when I was like, how am I going to remember them? Because it's like, if I like Clarksville, it's going to be Clarksville. But like, if it's, for example, if it's a B&B that's bread and butter, and a bread and butter list is basically like absentee high equity. If it's BBQ, obviously that's barbecue, and that's the. I forgot. I got them all written down. I got one that's PMP, which is peach mango pie, and that's a certain. Yeah, because here's the thing. Then if I go, I can do a B&B list in Atlanta, and I know that it's a high equity absentee owner list. That's just what I do. Y'all don't have to do that. I don't think anybody, but I'm just saying that's what I do. So that way I know if it's here, it'll tell me what type of list that I pulled. And then instead of just writing high equity absentee, that's too long, by the way. I can just put like PMP or B&B, Clarksville, the date, and that's kind of how I name it. And then you select B&B, CC and all of that stuff. So I got stuff like that. Panama, I got some Panama City stuff in there. But then you select the campaign that you want to actually, this is where you're uploading the list. You got to create a campaign to actually push this list into. And they always scrub federal DNC. Always do that. Accidentally didn't do that one time. Came back to baby. But what this does when it scrubs the federal DNC, there's a national do not call registry, and anybody who goes and logs in and puts their number on there, it'll automatically not call those people for you. So that way you're not calling people who are on that list who have requested not to be marketed to. And then scrub company DNC. Company DNC, those are people that you have marked as a DNC, whether you call them or text them or something, and you mark them. This number is a DNC. If you skip trace a new list, and maybe it's that same person, but they own multiple properties or something like that, and you pull a new list, and you don't want to call them again because you marked them as DNC on this list, on this campaign. Now you're creating a new one, and that same person comes up. You want to make sure that, like, if I've already marked you as DNC on this list, this campaign, I don't want to call you again on a new list, because then you're in a sticky situation. Now you're calling somebody who has requested not to be called. Right here where it says scrub mobile, never do that, because don't do that. That's scrubbing their cell phones. If you only wanted to contact landlines for some reason, then go ahead. But I think for what we're doing, I don't see a reason to scrub mobile. As you can see, remove duplicates. That's always going to be clicked, and scrub litigator list. That's a big one. So the litigator list is a list of people who are either known litigators or who have litigated, which means they have sued for being cold called. They have sued for being marketed to, right? And there are some people who
and they got specifically for being marketed to. Or do you think it's like litigators are people who just like have sued somebody or like something like that?
No. This is for people, because that's what I was going to say next. Is there's some people who have just sued just for being marketed to, but then there are also people like it's a business. It's like a real business where they've sued multiple people. They're just like, please call me. And that's usually how they get on the litigator list. And they talk about that if once you log on to this, if you go and do the onboarding, they will talk
saying it like it's hypothetically. Let's say if I sued somebody one time, I wouldn't end up on the list, but
no, I don't think. And again, I'm pretty sure they talk about it in the onboarding. I don't think it's just for suing in general. I think it's for suing in a case. Call with confidence and avoid lawsuits with the most comprehensive TCPA litigator list. I think that whatever the TCPA is, I think that those are people who specifically have sued for being marketed to. Because they talk, it's like those particular people, not just anybody. And so, because there are some people who might have just got mad and sued somebody once, but there are people who do it repeatedly. You are a habitual litigator. You did. But then
you ain't catch that.
What'd you say?
I said I was just asking for a friend.
Oh, okay. Hey, this man, but then you would I don't really want to, guys. I don't want to say that list. I didn't even mark all the fields correctly, but you want to make sure you got all of this. Create your name, but at least what city what is this? Clarksville. You want to the date. So what's today's date? What's today's date?
Today is the 8th. Is it? It is the 8th of September.
8/23. And then, but again, like, what type of list was this? Was this a high equity absentee? Whatever. I like to include that in here. And then you create a campaign, and usually I just make the campaign the same exact name as the list name, or you will get confused. And then you would submit it. And then after you create that, then you want to go over here and create a campaign. And I want to show you guys how to create these campaigns. Briefly, it's kind of really the same. Preview dialer versus predictive dialer. The preview dialer is actually a dialer. It's when you guys are thinking about a dialer, I'm pretty sure you're thinking about the predictive dialer. That's where it just says dialing the numbers for you. When somebody answers, it pops it up through to you, and you answer, "Hey, how's it going? Yada yada yada. No, you're not interested. Bye." And you go, and it just starts dialing again. The preview dialer is maybe if you were, let's say, for example, calling a list of buyers and you wanted to call them, or maybe you're calling a follow-up list or something like that. You can do the preview dialer where what it'll do is it actually pull up that person's, it'll pull up, this is that person's contact screen. And when you're in the dialer and they answer, this is what it'll pull up. It has the script over here off to the side, so you don't have to think about it. It has all their immediate information, their name, contact info. You can click over here and see the notes. You can click right here, and it'll even pull up property details. Sometimes it even has a picture of the property. Boom, right there available for you. It has an estimated property value. Do they have a mortgage open? It has all of this information right here. Activities, when was it created? That'll give you history, like when the last time that person was called, stuff like that. So when you're creating a campaign, the preview dialer will allow you to pull up that first. You can look at it and then call the person. It basically says, hey, we're going to call this person first, look over their account, maybe check in the notes to see what you guys last talked about, see what what you need to say when you get on the call, and then you click a button and it allows the call to go through. But that obviously is way more time consuming. It does help. Again, that's if you're maybe doing a follow-up list with some leads, or maybe even if you're calling buyers or something. But for the use, you want to do predictive dialer, where that's where it's anticipating contacts will be dialed automatically filtering out most of the voicemails, no answers, busy, and disconnected numbers. Agent will be connected to a client once the call is answered. I think it like beeps or something, and then whatever comes through. Agent, you assign the agent, whoever it is. That's either, you put yourself there, whoever's going to be calling that list, or whoever can. Because if you have VAs or multiple VAs, you can put all their names right here. The phone numbers, I have 10. You want to have at least, if you're going to be dialing for at least like 4 hours, 4 to 6 hours, you want to have at least 10 numbers. Here's the rule. Okay, I think it may even explain it. Dials per number, best practices. So each number in a 24-hour period can do 150 dials. And I'm sorry, guys. Pause. This was the selling point for me on Batch Dialer, was the night mode. This is usually how it comes standard. Maybe this is better for you guys. I'm sorry. Maybe you guys like this. I like the night mode because you're staring at the screen like for hours. For me, I'm gonna keep it in night mode, but I guess for this example, I'll keep it on here for you guys. But in a 24-hour period, each phone number can dial 150 people. If it dials more than that, then it starts screaming to the carriers, to T-Mobile, to Verizon. This is spam. So if I'm calling hundreds of people a day, then you want to have multiple numbers. And even you really just want to have a whole lot of numbers, which I think we can save those sort of strategies for a different video, because that goes in another, how to keep your contact rate high. That goes into another thing, honestly. So with these 10 numbers, I can make 1,500 calls per day safely. I might still get marked as spam, but the likelihood is a lot lower than if I were to only have one number and try to make 1,500 calls. And then here, contact list. This is where you take that list that we just uploaded, the pretend list that we just uploaded. You find it here, you click it, and that automatically populates for this campaign. You create a name for the campaign, and this is the call results. These are you go into something that's going to be called after call. Oh, it's not letting me pick after call. Oh, hopefully it doesn't start calling people. We'll go into that in just a second. But once you talk to somebody and maybe they're interested, maybe they're not, maybe it was a voicemail, whatever. Okay, sorry about that. Thank you. You hang up the call, and then it pulls up an after call. And this is where you really dispo the call, meaning what happened. And these are the options that will come up available to you. You leave notes and you click one of these options. What happened on that call? Was it sold? Was it somebody who's upset? They want to be added to the DNC list. Was it a lead? Is this somebody who is a lead that's probably ready to go? And actually, these aren't what I use. I got a group already. You can preset a group of after call. I call it the usual 10, and it'll consist of wrong number, voicemail, sold, not interested, lead, no answer, DNC, answering machine, drop call, hung up, disconnect the number. I think that's all I need for all those 10. I tried using everything, and especially if you don't have a CRM, I think this has like a miniature. All systems will have their own miniature CRM built into them, which basically means your customer's relations management system. So how do you manage the leads after you've already marked them as leads? And you can do that within this system, but really it doesn't work out for me, right? And so what I got is when you click the lead button, it automatically sends it from Batch Dialer to Podio, which is my CRM, which I can show you that briefly next. And so I used to have things like successful sale or lead follow-up or call them back in a week or something like that. But it really just doesn't work that way. I think you just need to, again, wrong number, voicemail, sold, not interested, lead. If it was a lead, push it to your CRM and manage it there. Do you need to follow up with them? Follow up with them there. Don't do that in here. It just doesn't work out that way. And so that's what I got. I usually click the usual 10 and then X all of these out is what I do. Like just going to get rid of this. And there's a place in settings where you can kind of create this group, this call results group. I think it's over here in like reports or phone systems. It allows you to create that so you can, as you're uploading and creating campaigns, you can do it a lot quicker instead of just clicking each individual one. The script, and it comes with its own default script. I have a script that I use as the motivated seller script. We went over that script, and I shared that script with everybody who was interested. Calling script 2.0, whatever. But the motivated seller script, that's the one I got. And then you want to go to, before you finish, go to advanced configurations. This is going to allow you to do some other things. I never mess with call order. I just let it do its thing. Automatic answer, manual answer. Angel will hear the sound indicating new call and will need to answer it. Automatic answer. This just basically means when it answers, it just pulls the call into you while you're in the dialer, right? Basically, when it answers, it just pulls the call in while you're in the dialer, so that way you can, you don't got to really think about it. And if you do anything like manual answer, or you will see something down here that says answering machine detection. When you do those things, it creates a couple second delay. So if any of you guys ever get a scam likely call, or spam risk, or just a random number, and you answer it, and there's just like a long pause, you're like, hello, hello, hello. That's because they got all of this manual answer and the answering machine detection on. You see, system will filter out answering machines so that you only talk. This will take up to 3 to 5 seconds of the call. You will sound foolish, and more people will be frustrated if you put a whole lot of stuff in between them picking up the phone and you answering it. So I like to automatic answer, and I never click answering machine detected. If you want to, you can, but I don't do that. Max calls per day. What? Retry time, max attempts per record. This is big. This is basically saying, as you're in the dialer, if your dialer dials a person and they just flat out don't answer, how many times will it retry to call them? And you only want to do, I only do twice. So it only call them 2 times and within 3 hours apart. If you do more than twice and you do it in a short period of time, that's going to get your numbers marked as spam as well, right? So if you call them twice in 2 minutes, that's spam likely, dog. You just asking for it. Simultaneous dials per agent. This right here is what I was talking about earlier when, like I said, I do have the multi-line dialer, and it even gave us like an error message right there. I clicked too fast. Where I think you can go up to 10. But if you do anything more than 3, you're going to put your numbers at risk of being used too much, and they're going to get marked as spam likely. So keep it around 3. Abandoned time, that means how long the phone's going to ring before it's just like, all right, this person not interested, go. 30 seconds is good. Smart local presence. I'll always keep that off because I don't want it to keep using the same phone numbers again. What this basically is it says, if a person's in an area and I have 10 numbers, should it use that number that is closest to that person's area? And you could do that. And obviously that's a good idea. However, all of my numbers are, I think 931 or 61. They're all Tennessee numbers. And if they use the same one close to the area, they might end up just using the same phone number too much. And I don't want them to do that. So I just keep that off. Lead sheet. I don't even use a lead sheet, but you can have one. Obviously, like I said, keep answer machine detected off, call recordings. Now you want to make sure you're in the state for that. Tennessee is a one-person consent party state, I think is what it says, one-party consent state, what basically means that
Georgia is too.
What'd you say?
Georgia is too.
Yeah, you want to make sure that you are in that place or in a place where it's just a one-party consent state. What one-party consent means is if me and you on the phone and I'm okay with it being recorded, it's good. At least one of us needs to be okay, has to consent to the recording. In some states, it has to be both or you can't record it at all, in which all you would do is have to add something to the effect of, hi, the call may be recorded. They have to go through that. This call is going to be recorded, whatever. So if you're in that state, if you're in Tennessee, you can keep the call recording on. Suppress federal DNC. This is basically reiterating that same question. I got poor internet connection. It's doing too much. Also, I'll talk about that in a second. But this is reiterating that same question, suppress federal DNC, that it asks when you are uploading the contact list. Click it again. It'll ask you that for the campaign itself. So if you missed it on the contact list, then the campaign will suppress those. Suppress system DNC, never suppress wireless contacts, and skip contacts were marked as plaintiffs litigators. Right there. Calling hours, you can put a limit, like your phone will just stop dialing if it goes outside of these hours, and put your time zone, of course. And then you accept this and then save. Boom. Okay. That's how you create a campaign. I don't actually want to create this campaign, so I'm not going to. One thing I will say too, just to keep in mind, I have other tabs open, which you guys cannot see, but they always tell you when you're in the dialer, only use Chrome, well, with batch dialer, only use Chrome and only have the dialer open. If you have other tabs open, it's going to affect just the connection on the dialer. It'll give you issues and stuff like that.
That's why my junk kept buffering when I had my dial up, man. I couldn't even get my dials right, man.
Yeah, dog. You got to be on Chrome, and you can't have a million. You only have that open. You might just have like that and a maybe a Zillow open from that contact or whatever. Like I said, one thing I do want to show y'all is again, another thing is you can just click this. I know it's not showing you off screen, but it'll just pull up. It'll just automatically pull up that person's Zillow right here for you, right?
The Godfather said, "What y'all doing?"
Just trying to break down the dialer, the batch dialer. Just give little tips or nuances of how to work it. Again, I always recommend night mode. Got to keep the night mode on, but just for you guys, I keep it on. Now, I think that's pretty much the basics. Like I said, you can go over here, check other reports and stuff like that. Especially if you had somebody else in the dialer, this will show you who the agent who was calling, what was going on, what was the outcome, and all of that stuff. You can even listen to the call recordings just to see how it went or whatever. That's something to think about. Campaign agents, heat map. Heat map, or it's either a heat map or the floor map, but it's my favorite thing in here. Or is it the floor map? Yeah, no, it's the heat map. Well, basically, especially if you have another VA in your system, this will tell you exactly what they've been doing. If you notice up here, it shows if you're unavailable, that means I'm in the dialer in this dialer. If I'm on break, I'm on break, lunch, in training, out of desk, online. I like these little tabs for the agents because this is why I say it's the most user friendly. This is simple. You want to call, go unavailable. You need to do anything else, it's very laid out for you. And you see, notice how it's color coded. If this pulls up the heat map, it'll if it pulls up the heat map, it'll show you how it will show, like if you got an agent who's in the dialer, it'll show you what they've been doing all day, and it'll show how much time they were in green, how much time they were in this like red color, if they were in after call, if they were offline, if they were out of desk. You can be like, it was just a whole bunch of orange. You'd be like, dang, why you been out of desk? You're supposed to have been in green all day.
Yeah.
Why you know what I mean?
I'd love to have like which one that is after call.
Yeah. You need to watch them.
Man.
They need to spend some time in after call taking the notes and dispoing the call. But but if they after call is crazy, then you already know, man, that John's ridiculous. Yeah, Keith, we talked about connection rates. And like I said, I think we probably just need to do a different video discussing connection rates because there's so many things that I think could benefit. Again, like we talked about, registering your number, having multiple numbers, or where you get your numbers from. Keith talks a lot about that. It's like he got a system because at one point it was costing him like hundreds of dollars, almost $1,000 every month just on the phone numbers, right? And if you get them from a certain place or do them in a certain way, you can that'll help keep your numbers solid and register them and stuff like that. That will help keep your connection rate up. We definitely talked about connection rate, but I think that we can spend some time talking about connection rate. We probably should. Honestly, that'll be the next thing because that's just big, whether you're calling or you're texting. But another thing that I do want to talk about, I think this would be good, is show you what it looks like actually in the dialer. You go into available, calling the BBQ list, and this is what it looks like. This is what it
not in service at this time.
I'm so glad that person didn't actually answer. But that when you hang up that call, that person, that was just a voicemail. This is what I mean. After call, you see it's back here in the background is saying I'm in after call. It's timing how long I'm in after call, and it's taking a note of that. And this is where you take the notes. Voicemail. I always have, I always have the VAs type, what it was and then their initials. So for me, it's CM. And that's why Byron's like, there was a call in Podio the other day. He was like, it just said NACM. It's because if it was no answer, I tell them just put NA and then their name. It's just a habit at this point. But if it was the person, put the person you talk to, because as you guys see, it's this person, Thera. But what if it was, let's assume Thera's a woman, let's say it was Thera's husband, Steve. So you would talk with Steve. He said they aren't interested at this time, but requested a follow-up in 3 months. And I would just mark him as not interested. Put your initials. I would just mark them as not interested because we're gonna follow up with these people on a regular basis. It gets to the point where they remember us. Oh, hey, yeah, I remember talking to you. How are you? How's it going? That sort of thing. Also, too, if it was a lead, he is interested. He is. They are. I said they is. They are interested at this time. Call back next week. They want to sell, but they're going on vacation. Call back next week. I would include that, going on vacation, and then I click lead. And you click lead, and then it can click done. And then right here, it's like, well, was this a happy person? Was this person okay, or were they very angry? This little thing down here is just the temperature of that seller. Was that person frustrated because, whether you pick not interested, wrong number, or whatever, what was the attitude of that person? Obviously, if it was a lead, most times that means they were happy. But I'm saying this because if it was a lead, I would click this and then click done. And then it would take that information that I typed right here and all of this person's actual information about their property and send it over to my CRM. That's when you have your systems integrated. So then it pulls it out, takes a copy of everything that I've recorded here, and it sends it to my CRM. And then from there, the lead manager can look at it like, oh, this person needs a call. They're out on vacation, needs a call back next week. Let me call them, or whatever that may be. So that's something to think about. But really, this was a NA. I'll put NA. And then real quick, try to go on the break so it doesn't dial. But as you can see, it was dialing. And this shows you while you're here, if you're unavailable, this will show you like, oh, it's dialing. Well, you see, this should light up as the dialer. But right here in the dashboard, once it starts to dial, you'll see this. And this is where you can it gives you the option to butt in on the call or listen in on the call if it wasn't you, but it was your agent. But this is how you know that you're actually dialing, is when these numbers are rolling for you. Dialing. And then when somebody answers, it'll come through. Notice it gave us a little beep and then it just came through. And if that person wasn't, they were like, hello. I'm like, hey, I'm sorry. I don't know if I have the right number. Oh, somebody in the queue. Whatever. But somebody still could answer right now while we're on this call. But the only other thing, I got a couple other things. Let me just make sure that he's still dialing these numbers, and it can show you. It's dialing Darren Van, and you can see that's your boy. One, how do you get it to where your leads just go from your dialer to your CRM? That's where you go into integrations. You can just have them integrated for you. They have different stuff. But one thing I do want to say is just kind of how I think the one important thing is people, so with the list, you might think, and this is something that I think is important that a lot of people talk about, especially when they're talking about just getting if you haven't even heard of a dialer yet, when you get into the dialer and you pull a list and you call through that list, you load it up and you call through that list. That does not mean you're done, or I need to pull another list. You definitely need to pull more lists, but you're going to call that list back. You're going to call through that list again. You tag it, and it even has things in here when you go to campaigns that allows you to do this. You can see some of them are recycled because you click on the campaign, and you can recycle it or call it again. Call it again means it just completely wipes it fresh and clean, and just how you loaded it the first time, you can call back to it as if you never called it again. But recycle means it'll call back everybody except for the DNC that you marked and the leads. Because obviously there's no need to call back the leads because they've been pushed to your CRM. So you can either recycle it or call them again. That's something to keep in mind with the list that you have and things like that. To integrate, to integrate it and stuff like that. Integrations. Integration. So you can different, like I said, they have systems, they can integrate it for you. But if you got a Podio, you can integrate it. And again, if I'm not making myself clear, MailChimp, man, they got more stuff actually. But MailChimp, that's not even a CRM, but whatever. That's for something else. That's for emails. So Podio is the CRM that I use. And the CRM is the customer relations management system, where you will monitor, like you follow up with your leads, you set follow-ups with them, you keep notes and tasks, and then you either push them to close or you keep them and following up. But these are people who raised their hand and said, hey, out of the cold calls that you've been doing, I'm interested. Call me. When you create an integration, all that means is how do you get this app to communicate with your CRM? How do you get this app to shoot from Podio? Shoot from here to Podio. So after you saw when I was in after call, and it never lets me do that anymore. But you saw when I was in after call, basically, when you can click as a lead, this is where you go to set that up. And usually it's just as simple as go in here, you type in your Podio information and then click a button, integrate, and then and then it tells you which call result. So basically it says if Cordero clicks this call result in this campaign, this will send it to CRM. And so I used the call result lead back here where I was showing you guys how to create this. Okay, right here. So when we're talking about the call results, these, and I had, so it's basically allow you to say Cordero clicks lead, then it'll go to CRM, or you can create a different call result. Like, if you click sold, it'll go to my CRM. We can get real granular with this because you can have this go to different Podio workspaces. You can have it go to the same workspace, but to different Podio apps or something like that. I'm not going to confuse y'all. I'm going to keep it simple. But that's the basics, man. I think that those are important. And again, like I said, there's so many things that we could talk about. I think the biggest things you want to keep in mind is connection rate. But we probably need to do a different video with that. But just get off in here. And that's the basics. Anything that you really need to know about it, once you sign on, it's as simple as creating an Instagram. Might even be easier. Creating a TikTok account.
Hey, I know you ain't talking. This joker sitting there with no Instagram. So how I get on Instagram, man?
I got an Instagram now.
I ain't talking about you been on Instagram forever. Man, I got Instagram.
I'm talking like setting up this batch dialer account was easier than setting up that Instagram account. Real talk. But I'm saying if you got an Instagram, then you should be able to set this up. I know y'all can. But I got to switch mine back to that night mode, dog. I be feeling like Batman when I'm off in it. But once you get on there, they have onboarding. Oh, this is one thing I forgot too. One of my favorite parts is you can go over here to the help center. If you have any questions about any details, I utilize the help center often. But this is how they'll show you if you want to learn how to integrate stuff or whatever. But then you got the chat box. What's my name? What is it? How you gonna say hey Cordero and ask me my name? But anyway, you can just whatever. Hey, I need help with something. And then, no, I really don't want to do that right now. How can I help you? Ask us a question. How do you integrate a new CRM? And I think, obviously I spelled integrate. Shoot. Hey, how you spell integrate?
I don't know.
Shoot, man. And one thing ayúdame. How do you, well, change the word. Make a new CRM, and then they will give, no. And they'll give you options of like articles that you can read, but if that doesn't work, then they'll connect you with an actual support agent who can communicate with you, and they'll do that. But they again, they do get with you in the next, like just a couple of minutes. They'll get with you. They'll talk with you, and so, but pretty much that's the basic. And all I'm saying is you can get on there, any little detail like uploading the list, managing it, figuring out. Just take action and do it. The most important thing is you got enough phone numbers to call the amount of people you're trying to call. You got good data, and that doesn't have anything to do with the system itself. Just a matter of where you're pulling your data from, but you're uploading good data and you're in the dialer calling. And it doesn't matter if you use Batch Dialer. I've used Mojo. I've used ZenCall before. It's like they all work. They all work. I just think the interface here is more user-friendly. As you can see, it's pretty simple, color-coded, and I like the night mode. It's just basic. If you ever worked at a call center, it looks a whole lot like this. And so don't get hung up on, do I need to go to Batch? Do I need to go to Mojo? Doesn't matter. Just if you're in the dialer and you're dialing, then you're doing better than somebody who's one day I'm gonna start calling people. If you're in the dialer and you got more phone numbers than me and your connection rate is higher and you're dialing more consistent than me and you got more data and better data, then you're going to be doing better than me. But remember, just get started and get on your way. Is like the fact that you got a dialer is going to be a distinguishing factor than the guy who's calling one person at a time. Let's see what they said. Sometimes. Yeah. Hi, and then it's Chris. Hey, thank you for reaching out. And then you can communicate with them back and forth. But I'm done talking with them, man. Done talking with them.
See if we can get one person to pick up before we get out of here.
Yeah, I can try. It's just first of all, I don't think that they're going to be able to hear.
Oh, okay. Well, it's good, man. We call people during the week, man. We already called a couple of sellers this week. We'll call some more. We jump back on here next week, man. So it's good, man. I think that was a good overview, though, man. Shoot, broke it down, ran through it. They're gonna be able to watch this right here and go get all the way straightened out. See that's stuff that they ain't gonna show them when they show up to Batch.
Nah, real talk, man. And that's another thing. Yeah, true. And then another thing is a lot of people on YouTube just don't even talk about a dialer. They talk about, man, call these people, and they talk about what list to pull and call it. They don't talk about how to putting it in a dialer, and that's a huge difference from just hand dialing those people. You know what I mean? Because a lot of jokers don't know about a dialer. And I didn't know about a dialer for a year. I was handwriting and hand dialing and hanging up bandit signs and going hard. I got my first deal and closed it and bought a mentor and did some more stuff before I ever learned about a dialer. And it wasn't until I got out of Nashville, one of the major cities, went to Clarksville, and started using the dialer, which I use Mojo, until things start taking off. And all you got to do, and this is a whole lot easier to commit yourself to and say, man, you could spend 2 hours in this dialer and call 400 people. If you want to, or you could spend 2 hours hand dialing people and you can call how many? 20 people.
I'm telling you, if you don't burn out before then.
If you don't burn out before then, because that's just crazy. You know what I'm saying? So something to think about.
Don't walk to California, man.
Yeah, man, don't walk to California, man. And especially, I'm gonna keep it real with you. You can use any dollar, but batch dollar is my absolute favorite because this night mode. With this night mode, you taking a private jet to Cali. That's a private jet, luxury seats with the cup holders, and you got a bed in there. You know what I mean?
Man.
You got a bed in there, dog. That's what I'm trying to tell you. When you switch it over to this night mode, and especially if you a real deal hustler, man, you're gonna be calling at night. I'm telling you, when it's nighttime too, this night mode changes things. Changes things. So get you a dollar if you don't already have one. I don't know where everybody's at in their levels of this. Definitely get you a dollar. I think this is the most. What was the term he used? Not liberal, but the most
democratic.
I think of all of the marketing channels, the dialer, that's what I thought you were talking about originally. I think it arguably could be the most democratic, but
the most inclusive.
I think the dialer could be the most democratic. But again, like we said, it depends on what you got going on. Also, too, it's like the most, this is the most affordable. And like I said, I think
that's what I'm saying. It doesn't matter how much money you got. It doesn't matter. Like, that's what I'm saying. There's less factors keeping you out.
Yeah. That's perfect. That's a perfect way to put it. There's less excuses you can make.
There's less factors keeping you out, for sure.
Oh, well, I can't. It's like, come on, man. It's the dialer. Don't blame the dialer. Blame $200. I mean, I can't. I can't follow my dreams. It's $200. That's like if Michael Jordan. Man, I can't go be Michael Jordan. I can't give up my Saturdays in practice, or I can't be Kobe. I can't get up early. It's like no, he didn't say that. He was like, I'm going to do that. Like if I told you right now, you just had to get up at 4:00 in practice, one extra practice, and then 2 more times after that, but you get to be Kobe. You know what I mean? It's like, or you get that status. It's like, oh, you can't do that. Or my bad, he got the Jordan shirt on. My bad, man. I know you.
I love Cole, man. I love Cole all day, man. I love Cole.
Speaking of Michael Jordan, it's not Mindset Monday, but go get the book Relentless. Go get the book Relentless. And that's going to put you in a different mindset when you're on this journey, when you're on this ride trying to get something and you're just trying to claw your way out of your situation and you're trying to fight your own objections and your own personal creative avoidance and your own personal, I can't do this, that's not possible, and yada, yada, yada. When all of it's just arm's length away. When you get relentless, it puts you in that mindset of never, even if it was a billion years away, even if I had to walk to California, I'm going to walk to California. Never mind all that extra stuff. That was the mindset that had me handwriting letters on the kitchen table and, putting up my own bandit signs before I even heard about a dialer. And then I was like, dang, we ain't got to walk no more. I was going to make it there either way. And so go get Relentless. But yeah, man, just let us know any other questions that y'all have about the dialer.
Yeah, for sure, man. Make sure you like, man. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Make sure you share this stuff, man. Before we get out of here, man, I got to kill a couple of things from Cordero. What's your prediction, man? What Deion and them going to do this weekend, man?
Well, who?
Deion and them going to do this weekend.
Man, I don't know if you caught this by now. I do.
No, I know you don't, but I'm just saying, I mean, Deion is all over the place, man. So,
I had no idea that he was playing. You know what? And don't criticize me. I didn't even know it was football season. I'm not joking. Like I did not know it was football season.
I just caught up to the fact that it's football season when people was talking about Deion.
I would see, yeah.
That's when I caught up to the fact that it was football season. But I had to go back, so I missed the game. I had to go back and watch just Deion. That's the only game I've watched. Deion.
Man, I need to get.
I'm just watching Deion.
Folks. I'm gonna tell you, if y'all not from the South, folks in the South will get on your head if you don't be watching sports, man.
No, I ain't getting on nobody's head. I
ain't getting on your head, dog.
I worry about Deion.
Yeah, man. I think Deion gonna go hard, man. I would say this: watch him make that transition to being a coach now, stuff like that. I think that's like, I don't know. I think that's real cool to see how many athletes don't have longevity and then to make it out of it. Or whether you like even somebody like Shaq, like, you know, he's not a coach or anything, but like he's evolved from being one of the best players to just winning all around in life, I think is a good thing. I like stuff like that. So I'm rooting for Deion. I tell you that much, man.
Deion, I'm watching him. It's like, dang, you like watch his videos.
Yeah.
It's like, shoot, man, what he doing with social media is crazy. What he doing with motivating people is crazy. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, man, it's crazy, man. It's inspiring. So I hope Deion them go out there and get them boys. But I might see the game. I go back and watch it. I ain't watching nothing else but Deion. I'm only watching for Deion, man.
Man, I need to go to a game. I'll do that now.
Yeah.
To a game.
Yeah, man. But shoot, man, I just wanted to mess with you, get you a little, you know, look off topic, man. You know, a little bit of shenanigans. Tennessee Titans got a game this weekend. Tennessee Titans.
Whoa, now you being disrespectful. You know they ain't won nothing since I was in Pampers. They ain't won a game.
Say Eddie George.
What's my dude? Vic, the quarterback. Dang. See, I don't watch. Yeah. That's what I'm talking about. That was the days. That was the glory days. You know what I'm saying? But
Tennessee Titans, man. Hey, don't worry. The Falcons gonna be garbage, so we'll be right there with you.
Because you know when you on the phone talking to these sellers, man, they so quick to hit you with what them? Yeah. And I'm like, I think they gonna
But I'm saying that's another thing though. Like you bring up something with a seller like that, you know what I'm saying? Even it could be any kind of stuff. You know, Cordero like to bring stuff up. You know, Cordero talking about people accent. I love to bring up like if you from a certain place, I like to bring it up. You know what I'm saying? Just like
that's big.
Like Tennessee is like if somebody Tennessee Titans got to play Sunday, what you think they gonna do? You know what I'm saying? It's like people in Tennessee have heard of the Titans so much. It's like they gonna have some kind of like feelings or something.
I think that's a major key right there. You know what I mean? When it comes to talking, obviously talk about something you know. I don't bring up sports.
They let their guard down a little bit. Like you was talking to that dude and you start asking about the accent or whatever where he from. It's like what you start talking about Haiti, it's like his guard just completely like
he's 180. Bro did a 180 on me. And I was even about to bring up that Bad Boy scene when they was fighting they was having a shootout with the Haitians in that pink house, but I was like, nah, I ain't even gonna do that.
Hey man, jokers be letting their guards down so much once you talk about something they can relate to.
Something they can relate to, yeah.
They drop that guard. Like they get comfortable.
Try to stay away from the weather because it's become a cliche. You know what I'm saying? They say you even hear people in the South say something like, man, somebody get to talking about the weather, reach for your wallet. Or something slick like that.
Like talk about the weather, but you can talk about a hurricane.
Something like that. Exactly.
I was like, I done marketing in Florida and stuff like that. And
man,
hurricane coming, man. All these people just you know, but just being able to talk about stuff like that, man.
Yeah.
Like you can struggle through a calm, find something that you can connect with, and boom, that call just bust open. That thing turned into good.
And here's the difference. And we can talk about this in sales, but just in general, with building rapport and connecting, is you don't want to throw stuff at the wall to see if it sticks. You want to feel them out a little bit. You
want them to kind of lead you into it. You know what I'm saying? It's like you don't want to come out of the blue and say it. You know what I'm saying? You want them to be able to say, you know, like they said, like say if I was talking to them on a Saturday and they was like, we're gonna be, you know, on Sunday, we're gonna be da 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 da. It's like, oh, you're gonna be watching Tennessee Titans? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, somebody hit me with that a couple of times.
You know what I'm saying? Do you kind of let them lead you into it a little bit?
Yeah, man. I had a dude literally last night. He was just like, you know, I'm not interested in selling, but where'd you go to school at? What college did you go? I went to MTSU briefly. You know what I mean? But he was like, all right, call me back after MTSU play their Christmas game. Or something he said. He was like, around Christmas, call me back after they play their last game because UT is going to be playing after that. And I was like, oh, Okay, whatever that means. I have no clue what he meant, but if I had the wherewithal, that would have been a beautiful connecting point. Like, oh well, I'll see you there. We're gonna beat your team. I think he was like trying to say that MTSU was gonna lose to his team. I think that was the what he was.
University of Tennessee, right?
Yeah, that's in Knoxville. He was talking about Knoxville, and MTSU was here in Murfreesboro, Middle Tennessee, right? And I think he was just saying like, we was gonna take a L or something.
He had a run in basketball that one year.
Couple years, man. No sleep on UT.
Yeah, they ran through the NCAA tournament.
Titans, but we talking about UT.
I had a athletic director at my school that went to Middle Tennessee, man.
He might know something.
He was always repping. Like, he was always repping. He always had some Middle Tennessee on, man.
Yeah, man. For sure. I could throw a football at you right now. But you want to connect with people in a way, like you don't want to be talking to no old lady, be like, hey, you going to that little baby concert? It's like, just because she live in Atlanta, it's like, no. You know what I mean? Like, dog, think about it. Don't, you know what I mean? It's like, well, I know it's like, I was talking to a lady the other day. She was like, yeah, I got it. Maybe an Outkast concert or something like that. I don't know. I don't think that's old though. I don't feel like that's old. Maybe, you know what I mean? But I was talking to her the other day and she was like, yeah, I got to talk with my son. I asked her who are the decision makers. And I was like, yeah, because if my mama got a question about real estate or any other women in my family got a question, they're going to go to me. I understand that. I connected on that level. She said it. And I was like, no, I absolutely understand. Because if you a car salesman and your mama go to buy a car, you're going to be like, Mom, don't go here. Don't do that. Don't let them trick you with this and offer you this or upsell you here. You know what I'm saying? You the guy. So I was just like, yeah, no, I absolutely understand that. I wouldn't let my mama touch a pen to a piece of paper without consulting me about it. You know what I mean? So I absolutely understand. And she was like, yeah, no, I got to get my son. Like you said, you wouldn't want your mama out there, whatever. For sure, man. But just connect with people, build rapport, especially if they talking about something. If they ain't talking about something, then you ain't even got to worry about that, man. Get off the call. Get off the call.
For sure. But man, we've been on here an hour and 16 on a Friday, man. Gave y'all good fun on a Friday, man. Like, dude, Cordero came in heavy with the cold call, man. We gonna drop that video. Probably gonna even have to chop it up a little bit, man. Make a little shorter video and put it out there, man. Because shoot, that was good right there, dude.
For sure, man. I think there were some highlights and there were just some general points on there, man. But just knowing what a dialer is, get you a dialer. I just changed the game for a lot of people because I know it changed the game for me. So
yeah, for sure.
And also y'all requested, somebody requested that.
Yeah, we gave it to them. Show.
Let us know what y'all want next. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna be back at it again.
Back at it again Monday, man.
You know what I think the streets calling for? They said, we want Keaton on the show.
Man, they bring big
Caretha on the show.
Man,
I'm gonna be in the comment section. You know what I think? Y'all should have Caretha or Keaton on the show next time. You know what I'm saying? Ask them some questions. Send it in from an anonymous account.
You already know Keaton gonna be showing up hidden, man, for sure. But yeah, man. We're gonna definitely come back. Y'all leave comments, leave questions, man. We're gonna answer the mugs. We'll be back next week. Try to bring y'all more live stuff, live calls with sellers, live calls with everybody that we really deal with, So, but man, we finna get up out of this thing, man. Y'all need anything, y'all hit us up on IG, man. Till then, peace out.